Okay, so in this video, we're going to make our first Java program. So a couple things you'll need first. If you're using the computers here at the school, everything should be set up for you. But if you're using this on your personal, your home computer, what you're going to need to do first is download BlueJ. So this is the editor that we're going to use to enter our Java code. So if you want to be a programmer, you have to pick a programming language, whether that's C++, Python, Java. So we've decided to use Java. And then once you've decided on a language, you have to pick an IDE. That stands for an Integrated Development Environment. In this case, they call it a Java development environment. So we're going to use BlueJ. It's pretty simplistic. It's great for just learning programming. It's not the greatest development environment out there. Others include Eclipse, NetBeans, JCreator. But BlueJ is pretty good to get us started. Okay, so if you are using your home computer, you're going to want to download, but I would recommend not downloading the most recent version. I would go and download previous versions. So you can click this little link here and scroll down to the latest version of 3. So go down under the version 4, and here, version 3.17. So if you have a Windows PC, then you're going to want to click this first link and then just follow the instructions. And if you have a Mac, then click this 4th link and then just keep following the instructions to install. Okay, so if you're using the computers here at the school, we already have BlueJ version 3.17 installed on the machines. Okay. One more thing you're going to want to do on your home computer is go and download Google Drive file stream. So if you just Google that, and if you click on the first link, there are some instructions as to how to download this on your computer. Basically, what this does is it gives you access to your Google Drive documents in a fast way. It allows you to save your Java projects quickly without having to do a lot of dragging and dropping from Google Chrome. So you'll see what I mean. We're going to see an example. So you would just scroll down to either Windows or Mac and then install, just hit that button and follow the instructions. Okay, once again, the school computers, we already have that installed, so that is great. Okay, so here we go. We're ready to start. So we're going to find BlueJ. I have it on in the bottom here. You might have to do a little search to find BlueJ, but I have the BlueJ program right here. When you open this, it automatically opens the last project that you've been working on. So I already have a project open. This is for my grade 12 class. So I'm going to close this project, okay, and we're going to start a brand new one. So I'm going to say project, new project. Okay, now, 2 very important things here. Number 1, we need to decide where we want to save our project. Okay, one option is to just save it to the desktop. You can also save it to the documents folder or this PC, but all 3 of these options are simply going to save it to the computer. So your project will only be accessible on this computer that you use. It would be great if we could save the project in your Google Drive. So then you can access it on any computer. You just have to log into Google Drive to access it. So if you have installed this Google Drive file stream, if you've installed this, then when you drop this down, you should actually see Google Drive somewhere here. Okay, mine will look a little bit different. Actually, here it is right here. So you should see Google Drive. Yours might say Google Drive file stream, and that's okay. That's fine. Okay, so what you should do, if you haven't already, is make a folder for computer science. And you can just click on this little yellow folder here, and you can make a brand new folder. I'll just call it comps. I already have one, but I'll create another one just for illustration. Okay, and then go inside there. All right, so now I don't have any folders inside this, but I'm going to create a new folder called Unit 1. Project. It's also going to create a folder for me called Unit 1, and so we're going to hit create. Okay, and so this creates a project called Unit 1. And inside this project, we are going to create many different Java programs. So we're going to start with a small example today, but we're going to have a lot of computer programs within Unit 1. And then when we go to Unit 2, of course, we'll make a brand new project and call it Unit 2. Okay, so here we go. We're going to create our a class. We're going to discuss what class means. There's going to be a lot of things that I'm just going to skip by right now just to get the program running. But we're going to come back and slowly talk about what all of this stuff means. Okay, so we're going to hit new class. And now we're going to give our class a name. So when you see class, just for right now, think of a Java program. So what computer program do you want to write? Well, we're going to call this Hello World. All right. Don't have any spaces in this. You should start with a capital letter, and then if you have a new word, instead of having a space, just start it with another capital letter. Okay, this is called title case notation. It's also called camel case notation. Kind of looks like a camel with two humps here, like a capital and a capital. Okay, and then we'll leave it as a class and press OK. All right, so here is our first computer program, or our first Java class called Hello World. And we're going to double click on it. And when you do this, you will see some default code already here for you. We are going to press to select that selects all, and then delete. We're going to delete everything, and we're going to start from scratch. All right. So first thing we're going to do is something called a class header, and this must be the same name as the class. So hello world. So it has to have the same spelling as your file that you created, the class that you created. Okay, under the class header, we're going to create an open curly bracket. That's called an open brace. So these are called braces. And then we're going to put a closed brace down here. If you are an experienced programmer, you may be used to putting the open brace here at the end of the class header, and that is fine if you want to do that. I just under the P so that these are lined up. The open and closed braces are lined up. Okay. So inside the class, we're going to create something called the main method header. All right. So again, you're just going to have to trust me and just type this in yourself. And then we're going to slowly go back and talk about each word and what each word means. Some of these words you may not be able to fully understand until you've taken this whole course. But we'll do our best. But for now, let's just get this program running. So string, these are square brackets. Okay, so these are actually called brackets. These are called parentheses, and these are called braces. So in computer science, we use all three of these things a lot. So you're going to need to know the terminology. Arguments. We'll talk about what that means later. All right, so the main method header also needs so open and closed. And a general rule here, I'm just going to get rid of this white space, this blank space here. So a general rule is that every time you have an open brace and a closed brace, you should have them lined up. So you can see that this one and this one, they are partners and they're lined up vertically. And likewise, so are these ones here. Okay, and this is where we're going to write all of our code, all of our instructions for our computer program. And we're going to keep this really simple. We're simply going to say system.out.println, which is short form for line. So this really is pronounced print line, but ln is just short form. Set of parentheses, and then I'm going to have some double quotes, and I'm going to say hello world. Okay, and once again, I'm going to get rid of this blank space. And one other thing you'll notice, we always put a semicolon. Well, not always. We put a semicolon at the end of an instruction. So at the end of an instruction that we want to tell the CPU. We don't put semicolons at the end of headers, so the class header or the main method header, but we will put one here. Okay. All right. So this is, believe it or not, this is a computer program, probably the world's smallest computer program, and we're going to run it and see what happens. So to run these things, we're going to do two things in BlueJ. First, we're going to press this compile button. Now, when you press compile, two things will happen. It will first check for errors to see if you've typed everything correctly. So it will show you if you have any syntax errors or not. I'm going to press compile, and it says class compiled, no syntax errors, perfect. If I forgot a semicolon, let's say, and I press compile, it's going to give me an error. It highlights this line and it says, hey, you forgot your semicolon. Okay, so we'll put that back in. And then I'll recompile. Okay, so the compile button checks for errors. That's really good. And then the second thing it does is it converts all of this code, which is referred to as high-level language. It converts this code into machine code. Now, machine code is just a series of zeros and ones, basically. So it's going to convert like all of these characters to binary, and it creates a file. Oops. So it creates a file. Again, everything is space. Right. So realistically, it would look something like this. Okay. And on and on. And so what happens is a file is created with all of these ones and zeros, and then that file is actually run through the CPU, not this English, not these English words. So when you press compile, two things: it checks for errors, and it also converts everything into machine code. Specifically, it's something called Java bytecode. So it's not exactly ones and zeros, but it's very close to it. Okay, so we compile, we're good. We have no errors. The program has been converted to bytecode. We can't see that file right now, but it does exist in our file system. So now we're going to drag back to our project here, this window here. And now we want to run this now that it's compiled. So we're going to right click on this little box, and we're going to run the main method. So just left click on this main command. Okay. And it asks you for any parameters to the main method. Most of the time, we're just going to leave that alone and just press OK. And here we go. So this window opens. This is called the terminal window. And there's only one thing printed at the very top. It says hello world with 3 exclamation marks. And that is the end of our program. So very basic, very simple, but we actually wrote our first program. Many of you have. Some of you have probably done a lot of programming, and maybe you even did this program in the past and likely have made something more in-depth. But this is a good start. So what I'm going to do is stop this. So what we're going to do is close the window. And then I'm going to go back to my code, and we can make some changes. So I'm going to add another line, system.out.println. My name is Mr. Morlack. Okay, so now here we go again. I'm going to compile. So we check for errors again. That's what this button does. And it also converts everything into machine language, as zeros and ones. So now I want to see it run. So back to the project, right click, and run the main, and just press OK. And here we go. So now you see 2 lines. All right. So that's it. We've created our first program. A lot more to learn from here, but this is a good start. We've learned how to print a simple message to the top left corner of the terminal window, and we're going to do some more exercises just to have you practice. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching.